Good evening. Tony Dattino, Monday evening. It's hard to believe the weekend, my Friday broadcast was just 3 days ago, but here we are. It's Monday evening, time for my Live with Tony. And as I reflect on the readings I do over the weekend, conversations I have with people, we continue to deal with the elements as I have conversations with people. I call the elements, the 6 elements and factors of maintaining good brain health. And they seem simple enough when you talk about them with people, and they look at you like, yeah, that makes sense. That's fundamental. That seems to be logical. But the question then becomes, and you ask people, well, tell me how well you do on each of the 6 elements. And if you were to score yourself on them, how well do you think you would score if we were going to allow 10 points for each of the 6 elements? Would you get a 60? Or would you get a 50? And it's still sad to say that most people would look at themselves and probably give themselves a 30. So what are those elements of brain health that people need to focus on, and which is the one that right now is almost kind of a cause and effect to the others? The COVID environment has certainly created a detriment to all of us in the sense of stress that we have as we go about our day-to-day lives. And that stress is one of the 6 factors. How do we handle stress in our lives? And how do we mitigate it to the point where it doesn't have an impact on us that leads us to go from stress to a level of anxiety to maybe depression? So the first thing we've got to be aware of is, what are the elements around the current environment that we still live in with COVID and the differences in the science reporting, and how we can mentally process that. What can we do to offset some of those impacts? Because what we do know is if we stay in a prolonged period of stress, it raises our response in our stress, fight or flight. And the longer we maintain that level of fight or flight, the worse we get in terms of what we need to be able to do with, to negate it, to not be in that heightened state of fight or flight. And as the chemicals in our body build the ability to fight or the ability to run the other way, it changes the chemistry and the makeups of our body, and to the point where it impacts our brain. And the flood of those chemicals over a prolonged period of time are detrimental to it. So what I keep trying to talk to people as I talk with them, and they keep, well, I don't want to listen to the news, or I don't want to know anything else that's going on about the different responses in science, which has taken a beating probably over the last 2 years, because you see so many different science people talking about different elements of what we should be doing to keep ourselves safe during this period of COVID. And what I talk about it in the workshops I'm dealing with, I'm talking to people about, well, one of your factors in brain health are stress responses. Well, something you can do about that. So now we say, let's take whatever the environment is, and let's take whatever people are putting at us that cause us to kind of tense up, and let's look at what are some of the things we can do. And they don't have to be complex and challenging. So last week I talked about exercising. And exercising did not need to be you have to go out and run a marathon race. It didn't mean that you have to be lifting 50-pound weights. Exercise, as we were reading to you last week, or as I was reading to you last week, can be as simple as walking from one room to another in your residence, and even changing the scenery of what you're looking at. is a beneficial exercise that you can do to help just change what you're looking at, your perceptions of things, even looking at pictures on the wall. So I look at a picture on the wall. I'll show you one that I look at, and it just does me wonders. I look at this picture right here on the wall, and it just does me a world of good. Well, what do I see in that picture? I see first the water and the waves. I see the birds. I see the plants, the lighthouse, the sky, the sand. And I just look at it, and I can just stare at that picture for 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes I'll sit in a chair and look at it, and other times I'll stand up, as I just did, stand up, walk over, and just look at the finite details. And I learned a little technique. I'll share this quick technique with you. Going to the Museum of Art in New York City, one of the curators there showed me how to take a piece of paper and just roll it up and look at the painting and focus on a specific area of a painting with a piece of paper rolled up. Try that someday. Take a piece of paper and just roll it up, block out, close your other eye, and just look at what you have there and look at a painting. Look at a picture of some sort. And see if all of a sudden that picture painting just jumps out at you and it becomes like a three-dimensional. Go to museums, I carry a piece of paper with me these days. An art museum, I always have a piece of paper. I roll it up and I look at different scenes. If I look at waterfalls, the waterfalls look like they're actually falling right in front of me. If I look at a bird, it actually looks like it's flying. The waves look like they're moving. It's amazing. It sounds crazy. You need to go do this. Take a piece of paper in your home, you got a picture, go take a section of the paper. You're not going to look at the whole painting or picture. You're going to look at a section of it. Just let it magnify itself and come at you like three-dimensional. It's just one of the things you can do to deal with the stress that you're having in your life. And exercising is just getting up and walking. Maybe just getting up out of the chair. No hands, just standing up and getting out of the chair 5 times. You're watching TV tonight, whatever you're sitting in, just try to get out without moving your hands and just using your legs and your butt and your core muscles to just lift yourself up. So exercise is one of the elements that you can mix with how do you deal with your levels of stress. They go together. Your social interaction is important. Pick up the phone and call somebody or text them. If texting is your thing, text somebody. Just get into a bit of a social activity. I was telling somebody today, social activity doesn't mean you have to be physically engaged. Just go sit on a bench somewhere and watch people. Watch kids play. Go look at your window and just watch other people engage and study what they're doing. Become an anthropologist. And just study the behavior of humans and seeing what they're up to and they're doing. So your social interaction, your exercise, dealing with your stress. What are you eating? The nutritional habits. Vital. What foods are you eating? Don't want to be eating a lot of carbos and starches and snacks and chips and stuff, and notching on things. Balance your meals between proteins and carbs, fats. So what's your nutritional habits? And can you be mindful of what you're putting into your body on a daily basis? If we can do all of those right, and study and learn something new. So we say mental challenges. Well, isn't the Maximum Memory Mastery online course is a mental challenge designed to help people improve their memories in a fun way that they can then apply to different things in their lives. So names and faces, my goodness. There's a module there, names and faces. Learn how to recognize people and be focused on their name, be focused on their face, and then connect those. And if you do it with people on the TV, just practice the skill as another way of dealing with stress in your life. In a positive way, meaning stress in my life, I'll go learn something new, make fun of it, and work with the kids, and bring the kids around with or family members, and do it together. That's how each person would practice that particular lesson. So learning something new. It's kind of ironic. In a Maximum Memory Mastery online course, you're learning something new, which is one of the elements of challenges that you need to deal with to help you maintain good, strong brain health. And so in combination, you can put all these things together, and you got your nutrition, you get, last but not least, you pull all these other 5 together, and you get to the 6th one, which is your sleep. And how can you get yourself to rest and have a good night's rest based on what you've done with your day? So exercising helps you with your sleep. Your nutrition will help you with your sleep. How you handle stress and process your brain before bedtime will help you with your stress. What you watch on TV, what you talk about, what you read before you go to bed. All these elements and pieces, all of them, come together to help you build a stronger brain for long-term life expectancy, and also improves your memory at the same time. It gives you the elements and the core nutrients to maintain a good, strong memory. I could talk about this all night long. I see people all the time dealing with the stresses of COVID and their kids in school and their parents and whether or not they're in a skilled nursing facility or assisted living. We're continuing. I continue to read and I continue to live in environments where people have a level of anxiety, a level of caution over what we continue to go through. And of course, the politics doesn't help add it to any conversation, whatever your political views are. It's just, we're living in some pretty stressful times, so we have to be more in control of things we can do that can help us live a long and healthy life and maintain good, strong cognitive fitness and mental health. Anybody ever likes to reach out, and things have gotten a little bit slow in that arena because of, I guess I had the memory championship and people have gotten back to activities in the fall. But a.tino@aol.com is the way to reach me, and let me help you if I can in any possible way. It's adottino@aol.com. Till Wednesday, have a good week. We're off and going.